Okay, look at you getting 2 videos in 1 day and 4 videos in the span of 48 hours. And usually the case with this is either there's breaking news on something PSVR related, or I'm covering a flat screen game. And today is the latter case. Today we're covering the new update for Space Marine 2 because it's added a brand new mission, a bunch of balancing things that, to be honest, I'm not that concerned about. But I'll tackle that in a second. But yes, a brand new mission is the main thing here, and it is bloody fantastic as a visual spectacle from a gameplay standpoint, and it's something you should try out because it's free, as are most of the updates to the World War Z style of games. World War Z and its subsequent kind of re-release and remaster, both of those had free content drops. Now Space Marine 2 is getting them as well, and all the content for the game is free in terms of the stuff that is playable to you, like missions and weapons. So to cover the boring stuff first, there have been a bunch of little balancing things and tweaks, like polishing up a certain number of traits and perks, but to be honest, stuff like that and the fact that the alarm sound that sounds a new wave starting has been changed for the 7th time into something I would say worse than it was before is a little bit annoying, but also just not really the main focus of this update. The main focus is the mission, of course, and this mission essentially expands the story of Space Marine 2's main campaign in terms of what happens to the planet you're on at the start, which is Kadaku. Now, this planet was overrun by Tyranids, and at this point in the story when this mission takes place, it's being overrun by the Tyranids taking over the planet's biomass and funneling all that biomass to the rest of the Hive Fleet, whatever they want to use it for, to create new bioforms, essentially. And you're there to kill a Tyranid Bio-Titan and to destroy the big capillaries that take the biomass from the planet and away from it. Basically destroying it. The planet is basically lost, and you're being sent in there to kill that Bio-Titan and make the takeover of the planet a little more painful for the Tyranids. That's a good setup and something that I'm looking forward to seeing the operations expand on as we go forward. We've got a sneak peek of some of the operations coming up, and it seems like they'll be telling the stories of the squads that helped out Titus at the end of the campaign in terms of turning those pillars around to deactivate the big warp shenanigans that was going on. So it's filling in the gaps, but this one is kind of filling in the gaps in terms of what happened to Kadaku and wrapping up that loose end. I'm assuming once we fill in all the gaps from the campaign, it can free up operations to maybe take place elsewhere, maybe on the other planets again, like Avarax, even though we have a fair few missions on Avarax, admittedly, or maybe we can go somewhere new. Games like this seem to be supported by Saber for quite a while, and this one has had over 4.5 million players, which I don't need to tell you, is a lot. So before we tackle the big Tyranid monster that you take on in the mission, the actual level design itself is a bit of a departure from the previous ones. We open up into larger arenas, which encourage you to explore to find ammo, armory data, armor boost, gene seeds, and all the loot that you find throughout the levels that you usually do. But in this case, it encourages you to kind of appreciate the artist's work here, because these environments are some of the best that the game has ever seen. Because you're revisiting a location from the main campaign, they have assets to build upon, but they're modified slightly. They're Tyranidified. They're overtaken by the biomass of the Tyranids, and everything feels a little bit more alien than it did in the campaign. In terms of actual arena design as well, it gives you a lot of options to run away from the massive Tyranid hordes that get thrown at you, especially at the brand new difficulty level, which I did try solo and died immediately, but the footage you're seeing on screen right now is the level below the top level, which is lethal. The one you're seeing is ruthless, and even still, we almost failed the mission here because it is genuinely pretty tough. The enemies being thrown at you come in droves, and it's up to you to counter, fight back, and win. And these arenas really allow you to do so and to catch your breath when you need to, which I think was some of my biggest complaints, or biggest nitpicks really, about the other operations missions, is that there are a couple of hallways where if you get overwhelmed, you're not really given any gameplay options to recoup and attack again, but here it seems to rectify that a bit. The regular tasks throughout the mission, such as restarting generators and all that good stuff, is present here with a little bit of a twist to it, as you have to destroy some barbs on these generators to get them back up and running again, and then advance through a gate, and then after that you're on to the final battle. These objectives leading on to the final one to fight the Bio-Titan do add a bit of pacing to the missions, and I did enjoy the little lulls there where you're kind of in one central location having loads of Tyranids thrown at you instead of moving through yourself. It's up to you to cover each other and use your abilities wisely to get out of there and get the objectives done. Once that's done though, you're onto the real eye candy of the mission. You got a glimpse of the Bio-Titan at the start of it, which was a perfect setup. leading into what's to come at the end. And at the end, you get to see it in all its glory. It plows through buildings right above your head, setting off the haptics in your controllers. It's a fantastic experience, and then you get to take it on. But again, there are only 3 of you as Marines, so you do command an array of las cannons to take it out. Some people were a little bit disappointed that you don't get to, say, jump on a Bio-Titan and stab it in the head, but that just isn't really realistic for this. I mean, your trio of Space Marines probably couldn't take out a Hive Tyrant like they do in the Decapitation mission without a piece of rebar sticking through its brain, so taking on a Bio-Titan is a little bit much, I would say. However, I did find it an interesting gameplay mechanic that the person who gets to designate where the las cannons fire and take the fire to the Bio-Titan is devoid of all weapons as they do so. So they pick up essentially a target locator, like from Halo Reach, and paint the Bio-Titan and shoot at it. You then have to recharge and repeat until you kill it and the mission ends. I do see how some people could see this as underwhelming because it's a similar boss fight to, say, the Helldrake or the Demon Host, but the Bio-Titan is more interactive with its attacks as it does shower the battlefield in acid, which you have to avoid, which can switch up your routes around the map and which locations you can comfortably defend. Overall, I did enjoy this mission, and also the addition of photo mode I really did enjoy. Thank you whoever added that to solo play. You can now pause whenever you want. If you're not in a multiplayer lobby in operations, you can just pause the game, you can go in photo mode and get some lovely shots like the thumbnail of this video, so I implore you to do that. You can get some really nice stuff of your Space Marine essentially, so yeah, go and do that. Anyway, what do you think of Space Marine 2 and its new update? Have you picked up the game? Have you not picked up the game? Do you not even know what a Warhammer is? Are you a PSVR2 fan for my usual content and just sticking around for this one? Thank you for that. But if you do want a PSVR2 video, there was one released before this, hopefully, which should be an interview with the Vendetta Forever lead developer, if all goes to plan. If not, it'll be something else, but there should be a video out before this one. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members: Luke Bentley, Phil Irving, Zeke Mercer, Ace Gamer, Hippie Pickle, Jin007, A License to Chill, Sun WTF, Fat Controllers, The Game Cat, Andrew Ehrenreich, Jason Parker, Lamar Hall, Jordy Bansma, Lemon64K, Outcast VR, Prophecy777, Gundy, Salvador, and David Gebhardt. Thank you for watching once again, and I hope to see you all in the next one.